My day job is I own a parenting magazine called North Texas Kids. I've been doing that for 8 years very successfully. I was named the 2009 Small Business Owner of the Year last year by the Plano Chamber of Commerce. And the reason for that is because I love to network. I'm good at running my business, but I completely built my business 100% in the beginning by networking and referrals. The first time that I had to stand up in front of a room of 100 people at 7:30 on a Friday morning at the Plano Chamber of Commerce and deliver a 30-second commercial that I was completely unprepared for because nobody told me I had to give one, I turned the color of Becca's sweater, which is bright red. My knees were shaking. I was horrified. I had never owned a business before. I have a PhD in 19th and 20th century Latin American poetry, very useful in raising kids and making money and all these other things. But life takes you where it takes you. I followed a passion at the time, which was having access to great information for my kids. I was new to the area where I was living, and I didn't know what to do and where to go. And I thought, if there's other women out there like me, moms like me, who need this information, then I'm going to provide it. And I did, and I've been doing it quite successfully for 8 years. And in my journey in those 8 years, what I have found is that I love working with women business owners, and I love teaching women how to connect more deeply, not just to their passion, but to each other. And as we move into more of an online, technology, distant, and unconnected world, I find that what women really want is connection. I find that we're missing that, we're looking for it, we're seeking it both offline and online. So I'm also launching an online website called Web Women Engaged in Building Business, which is really fun and will be a new passion as I move forward. But what I find is that people are stumped when it comes to explaining what it is they do to someone else, whether it's a 7-second elevator pitch or a 30-second more formal pitch that you give to a networking group. If you're an account executive, and Mary Cantano, she was fabulous. And here she is, and she's talking about, is anybody in the room in sales? Well, nobody, all of us should have jumped up and said, yes, we're all in sales. Because no matter what it is that we do, we're always selling ourselves. She also talked about not being boring on your voicemail. Well, it's even worse to be boring in person. How many of you have been sitting in a networking room, in a networking group, there's 30 women there, maybe there's 50 people, maybe there's 100 people, and you're listening to these commercials, one after another, and it's, hi, my name is Manette, and I'm an account executive with Paytech, and I sell technology solutions. Have you said that, Jennifer? Something like that, because it's what we're taught. No blame, right? But it's what we're taught to say. You have to learn to be memorable, because when you stand up in a room, you could be in a room of 100 salespeople who are all selling technology solutions, who are all speakers, authors, coaches, 5 Juice Plus people. I've been at a chamber meeting where there were 5 different reps for Juice Plus. How do you make yourself different? This is very similar to what Mary was talking about in our lecture that we listened to this morning. How do you be brilliant? But most importantly, how do you start a conversation when you're standing up for 30 seconds and just introducing yourself? So first, and everybody, I have some handouts for you ladies in the back. Will you pass those back for me, please? I'm going to tell you what not to do and what most people do in their 30-second commercial. And the very first thing that you should not do is to say your name first. Because really when you're standing up and you're getting your organized and you're getting your thoughts together, so is everybody else, and they don't hear your name, and they don't remember your name. And your name isn't really important anyway, because the sad point about being in business is that people don't care about you. They do not care about you, who you are. They only care about what problems you can solve for them. It's so true. So one of the shifts that I love to teach people how to make in their marketing mindset is how to be an attraction-based marketer. How do you approach people in a way that invites them, that educates them about how to work with you? And you do that by 1, giving a great hook, and 2, telling exactly who it is that you work with. And your name and your company name comes farther along down the line. Number 2, this is my biggest pet peeve. We've all heard people do this. Say that anyone and everyone is your perfect client. Anybody with hair is a great client for me. I cut hair. That's not true. Hair is very unique. Everybody has different hair. Some of us color our hair. Some of us have crazy curly hair that we want to get straightened. Some of us like little short spiky hair. Hairdressers have favorite clients. They have great target clients. Not everybody is great at cutting curly hair. My office manager has these long, beautiful, flowing black locks. Very curly. No one can ever cut it straight. Drives her crazy. She ends up cutting it herself and making a mess, and then it's going everywhere. And she has struggled for years to find the perfect hairdresser who specializes in curly hair. The chiropractor who stands up and says, anybody with a back is a good client for me. It's not true. It's not true. We all have something that makes us really unique, really special, and really different. Not everybody is a perfect client. And Mary illustrated that beautifully this morning by making her list of who she wanted to work with and who all she wanted to do was send an invoice at the end of the month. One of the things that I teach in my marketing classes is to write down very clearly in your mind a very detailed picture of who your ideal client is. Who is that person? We all have a favorite client. It might be a company, it might be an individual. You might look through an Oprah magazine and find a photograph and say, that's the woman right there. She's young, she's fit, she's healthy, she understands that what I have to offer is of value. And I like her. I like spending time with her. Right? I want to work with all of Lori's clients who are all getting really passionate because I love working with passionate people. So think about it. I bet Lori, I'm sitting here saying this, I bet Lori can picture her favorite client in her mind right now. Right? Who is it? Who is she?
Jody Harbaugh in Fargo, North Dakota.
And what's so special about Jody?
Jody is passionate about what she does, and she has found a very unusual way of using her gifts.
Mm-hmm.
She is a dowser.
Oh, very cool.
Very cool.
Like a good old-fashioned...
Yes.
Wow.
And she is now dowsing businesses, and they are seeing measurable results in their business because of it.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
But she pays on time, too.
Yes,
We
she
love
does.
clients that pay on time.
Absolutely.
We want clients who don't quibble about money. When you say my fee is $300 an hour or $3,000 an hour, they write the check on time every month and you never have to bug them. I publish a magazine every single month. We have hard, fast deadlines when we have to get all of our copy to our printer so the magazine comes out on time. My favorite clients are the ones that I never have to bug about ad copy. All I have to do is say, hey, the deadline is this, and the ad shows up in my inbox and gets dropped right into the magazine. Do you know how few and far between those people are? My salespeople spend way too much time chasing down ad copy instead of having the opportunity to be out selling to new clients. It's a lot of detail work. We have to train our clients up. We have to work with them and explain to them what's going on and simplify the process for them. It's one of the things that advertising doesn't have to be complicated. Marketing doesn't have to be complicated if you know what you're doing. Number 3, don't give a laundry list of all the services that you offer. This is a huge marketing no-no, whether you're creating a brochure, giving a commercial, writing copy for your website. People don't care about all the services they offer. They only want to know how you can help them. So the biggest mistake and the quickest way to be boring and to put people to sleep is to stand up in front of the room and enumerate all the different services that you offer. Okay? Very easy for Sheila to get up and say, I help people who struggle with
Emotional intimacy.
what a great hook right there. Everybody in the room is going to either recognize that in themselves, their spouse, or a conversation they've had with a girlfriend. We can all know someone or some part of ourselves that identifies with that, and we instantly want to have a conversation with Sheila to know more about that. So that's a great hook that you should start with. And then number 4, we already said, be boring or use big words that no one understands. This can be true if you're in the medical industry. It can be true if you're in the high-tech industry. If you're in a networking group full of 30 women who are small business owners, the reality is we aren't going to know what all that high-tech internet connectivity, blah, 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 high-speed, this, we don't know what that means. All I want to know is how are you going to impact my bottom line? How are you going to make me work more efficiently, work faster, work better? That's what I care about. I don't care what my processing speed is on the memory on my computer, okay? That doesn't really have any impact on me. How are you helping me solve my problems? Okay, so it's getting very specific about what you're doing. So we're going to do a quick 4-step formula here, and then I want you guys to actually write one and practice, because this is all about getting really hands-on and making sure you walk out of this room today with at least the rough outline of a format in process. So number 1 is you should always be very specific and ask a question or tell a story that shows the problems that you solve for people. Okay, a couple of examples. The hairdresser. Right, the hairdresser might say, or the chiropractor was the one I wrote down. I recently helped a client who couldn't move their neck be completely pain-free in only 2 sessions. I'm Dr. Laura Schwaluk, Body and Soul Chiropractic, and I help clients be pain-free. If you're having pain in your neck or you know someone who was recently in a car accident, please have them call me. I would love to help them be pain-free. Notice how I repeated pain-free like 3 times. right? So people who are sitting there and you're sitting there in those uncomfortable networking chairs and you're going, yeah, I got some of those pains going on, it's going to appeal to you, right? Unfortunately, people are in car accidents all the time. Chiropractor is one of the first things they go see. People who are in, any kind of workers' comp claims, a lot of chiropractors work with those people to help get them back in shape and get them back on the job, okay? I have a friend who is a speaker and a life coach, and her tagline is, wake up, stand up, and snap out of it. The first time I heard her give her commercial, she did that like 2/3 of the way through her commercial. And we all went like this. But when she stands up and she says that is the very first thing, guess what? We all do. We all wake up, stand up, and we're going to snap out of what? We're really curious. She piques our curiosity. And she goes on to tell us how she can help us do very similar to what Lori's doing, find our passion, get clear about what we want to do, and stand up for who we are and what we believe in the world. That's what she loves helping people do. Great tagline, great impact, great way, and she says it with great voice. She's a singer and a performer, so she has this beautiful speaking voice, and everybody just goes, oh, I want more of that. And that's what we all need to do, is figure out how to make everybody in the room go, I want more of that. I want to know more about that. So start with a hook. Number 2, state the benefits of working with you and who your ideal client is. So in the example of the chiropractor, you're going to be pain-free. You might have just slept funny. You might have had a sports injury. Okay, there are a few very key ways that she can clearly identify exactly who her target client is in 1 or 2 words. Okay, car accident, right? On-the-job injury, slept funny, right? You can be just sitting at your desk and all of a sudden your shoulder's going, oh, been bending over this way. This chiropractor talks a lot about, we all spend too much time hunched over like this and it shortens all our muscles here and gets all this pain here, and she teaches us how to sit up straight. Put your shoulders back. Remember to stretch back. Get those muscles moving. We can all identify. Yes, lift those breasts up. We'll edit that out of the video. And then finally, after you stated your hook, you've said what problems you solve and who you solve them for, then you state your name. Okay? Then you state your name and your company name, and a tagline if you have one. Taglines are great because they can make you memorable. One of my absolute favorite ones, the Plano Chamber of Commerce is hysterical. It's one of the best chambers in the country, I swear. 100 people show up on Friday mornings, and it's the best comedy for an hour for $1 you can ever have, because everybody in there is silly and goofy, willing to put themselves out there. We have one lady, she sells credit card processing, but she comes in with a new jingle that she writes every single week about credit card processing to the tune of some popular song like Frere Jacques that we all have heard 100 times. And can practically sing along, and she gets other people involved to sing with her and perform. She's very memorable. We have a guy, 15 years. He cleans carpets. Not very exciting or glamorous, but something that most of us need, unless we have all hardwood or terracotta or whatever. But most people have dirty carpets. I know a lot of mommies with young kids. Guess what? My carpets get really nasty. Doug's Mighty Clean is the name of the company, owned by Doug. Doug's tagline, if it isn't mighty clean, it's a dirty shame. Okay, very simple, very impactful. It says so much about Doug, though. Guess what? There's a lot of integrity in those few little words. He says what he's going to do for you in that simple tagline. And 100 people in that room, unless they're first-time visitors and have never been there before, even if they've only been once to a meeting, they can all chant Doug's tagline right along with him. He says the first part, if it isn't mighty clean, and the whole room goes, it's a dirty shame. And it energizes the whole room. It makes him memorable. Everybody remembers him. They might not remember his name, but they remember his tagline. So think about simple ways, simple words. Those aren't fancy words. They're not big words. What can you say to make you memorable, to get people to follow up? And then finally, if you do a lot of in-person networking, never leave the room without asking for what you need. I think this is the biggest mistake that people make when they network in person, is to not be very specific and clear about who you want referrals to. We go to networking all the time. We think, oh, this isn't working. Nobody ever calls me. Nobody ever acts like they want to talk to me afterwards. I feel like I'm chasing stuff down, or people just want to give me their business cards, but they don't want to initiate conversations. I can't guess who you need, right? Even if you say I need a small business between 20 and 50 people, well, I know hundreds of them. That doesn't really help you. Who's the one that you're looking for this week? You can focus on an industry. You can focus on an age group. You can focus on something very specific. For example, for the magazine, I'll share with you one of the commercials that I give a lot of times at the chamber on a Friday mornings. Did you know that women make 85% of all household purchasing decisions and control over $1 trillion in spending every year? Are you marketing to the right audience? If you'd like to get your name and your business in front of over 50,000 women every single month, please come and talk to me. I'm Dr. Minette Rarden. I'm the founder of North Texas Kids Magazine, and we get your business in front of the moms who are making the purchasing decisions. And this month, our focus in the magazine is health and wellness, and I am looking for referrals to pediatricians and pediatric dentists. And I sit down. Clear, clear, clear. I tell what problems I solve. I give them an angle. Most people don't even think about marketing to moms. Doug's Mighty Clean. He should be in my magazine. He provides a service. Guess who's making decisions about carpet cleaning? It sure as heck isn't my husband. He's not getting the dishwasher repaired. Okay, he's not calling the plumber, right? Moms are. And guess what? Out of that 85% that moms do all the actual purchasing decisions, you know they're influencing the other 15%. You think I'd let my husband go buy a car for me? I don't need a little red Ferrari.
Sure you do.
I have 2 children. I need something with a back seat and a big back end. He can have a little red Ferrari. Go for it. That's fun. Right? That would be his dream car, not mine. Right? So I like big cars, Suburbans, minivans, big and big. I want to put my kids and all my kids' friends and all the sports gear. Like going to hockey is crazy. Do you know how much, not hockey, martial arts. You know how much stuff, well, hockey's even worse. You know how much gear? You have to, my son is playing the bass. 6th grade orchestra. He has to take music this year. He decided to pick the biggest instrument in the whole school. My son is this tall, the bass is this tall. I'm not even sure it's going to fit in the back of my little Volkswagen station wagon that I have right now. I have to put it in the back of my husband's giant Ford Ranger pickup truck. We're good Texans, we do, we have a pickup truck. So what is it that you can do to be memorable, right? And then the biggest thing here is to make sure you're doing it all in clear, concise language and to practice, practice, practice. You have to write this down. You have to go practice in the mirror, practice in the car, in the rearview mirror on the way to your group. There's a funny guy that comes every week on Friday mornings. He makes neon signs, like big pole signs and storefront signs. You know, you wouldn't necessarily think that's really glamorous. He comes in, he plays the bongos every week, and he writes a silly rhyme to go along with the beat of the bongos. Everybody remembers Peter Bashara, and he can make neon rhyme with some of the most amazing things you've ever heard. And it's hysterical, and he's not particularly good at playing the bongos, but he's creative, he's consistent, and he's memorable. And that is exactly what we want you to walk away with today, is how can you come up with your hook that's going to make you memorable. I don't sing. I don't stand up in a room full of 100 people and dance, but I love to talk. I'm a good talker, right? I'm not funny. I don't tell jokes. I can't ever remember the punchlines. I always mess them up. We have a family counselor. He's an anger management therapist. He always tells some really, really bad joke about the husbands and wives and stupid things that happen. And he's brilliant at it, and everybody remembers him for his jokes. Everybody knows exactly who he is because of his jokes. If you're not somebody who's comfortable, how can you still be memorable? Be consistent is the #1 way. Come up with a really great commercial and be consistent. Say the same thing every single week with small variations. Vary what you ask for every time you go to your networking group. 1 week you're asking for referrals to corporate lunches maybe. 1 week you're asking for referrals to a particular business industry. 1 week you're asking for referrals to go speak at moms groups. Moms are passionate. They don't always know how to channel their passion, transition from being moms to maybe empty nesters, right? Who do you want to target specifically? And now I want to be quiet. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes, and I want you all to write a hook. What's a hook that you think that you can use to get people to ask for more information, attention, and come up and follow up with you after the meeting?